Hello everyone, welcome back to Atreyu Crochet. So it is now time to start making gifts for Father's Day now that Mother's Day has passed. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a tie. Let's get started. Things you will need. Just a regular size skein of yarn. This happens to be carrying 1 pound. I had a lot left over after I made a sweater several months ago, so I want to start to use this up. I won't use all of this, but it'll put a dent in it. So you'll need some yarn. It's a medium 4 yarn. It calls for a 5mm crochet hook, size H, that is US. You will need a tape measure. You'll need a darning, weaving, tapestry needle. You'll need some scissors, and you'll need stitch marker. If you have a pack of stitch markers, that would be best. If you don't, if you only have 1 or 2, then you can make that work by simply relocating the stitch marker every time, okay? Let's get started. We will start out by making a slip knot. So grab your yarn, wrap the yarn like that, twist exchange, wrap it around your finger like that. Now pull this one over that one and off your finger while lifting up on the one on your finger. Insert your crochet hook into the hole and pull to tighten. Now you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. We're going to skip the first chain, which is here. Skip that, and we're going to go in there, in that second chain. And in that second chain, we're going to put 2 single crochet. You make a single crochet by not yarning over, just entering the stitch. Now yarn over, pull through to the front for 2 loops. 1, 2. Yarn over, go through 2. 1, 2. We're going to put a second single crochet into that same chain. So re-enter the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front for 2 loops. 1, 2. Yarn over, go through 2. 1, 2. That is row 1. Row 2, you'll chain 1, and you're going to turn your work. So we will turn our work. Here's the first stitch where that chain 1 is coming out of. It's coming out of there, and here's the second one. We're going to be increasing for several rows. In the first stitch, the same one where that chain 1 is coming out of, we're going to put 2 single crochets. So we're going to go in there, slice the icing off the top of the cake, and we're going to put 2 single crochet. So let's do it. Slice the icing off the top of the cake. Make sure we have all the icing. Now we have all the icing. And make a single crochet back in there for 2. Okay, and then in the second stitch over, there's its top right there. We're going to put 2 single crochet. So slice the icing off the top of that cake, that stitch, make your single crochet, and then go back in there for a second one. That's row 2. Row 2 has 4 stitches. Chain 1. Row 3, do you turn your work, is also an increase row. Okay, so we chain 1, and we're going to put 2 single crochet in the first stitch. So right where that chain 1 is coming out of, we're going to slice the icing on top of the cake, and we're going to put 2 single crochet in there, back in there for the second one. And then in the center 2, because remember there are 4 stitches here, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the next one we'll put 1, and the one thereafter we'll put 1. That leaves us with 1 stitch on the end, and that final stitch we'll put 2 single crochet. Back in there for 2. So now you should have a total of 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1, turn your work, and now we're just going to continue doing what we've been doing with increasing. You're going to increase on the end. So the first and last stitch will get 2 single crochet, and all the stitches in between the first and the last stitch only get 1. Let me show you one more time. Slice the icing off the top of the cake of that very first stitch, the same stitch that that chain 1 is coming out of. So slice the icing, and we'll put 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then one single crochet in the next, 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 and now we're at that final stitch. Always give yourself the aerial view if it's hard to identify the stitch, so you can clearly see the top. There it is. And in that final stitch we're going to put 2. So we'll slice the ice in and put 2 single crochet back in there for the second one. Alright, let's count our stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so you're going to continue doing this for rows 5, 6, and 7. Alright, so remember, what you do is you always, at the beginning, you chain 1. In the first stitch goes 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. Then you put 1 single crochet across until you get to the last stitch, and in that very final stitch there, that's where you're going to put 2. Okay, and that'll be your row 5, and then do 6, 7, and then I'll meet you once we get back to row 8. Remember, 2 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet across, and then when you get to the last stitch, 2 single crochet again. See you in a bit. I just completed row 7. Row 7 has 14 stitches. And now for row 8, I'm going to chain 1 as normal. And this will be a non-increase row, so I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch across. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and that end one can always be a little bit hard, so just give yourself the aerial view, find the top, which is right there. Okay, and that's going to be my 14. That's row 8. Okay, so no stitch got 2 stitches in that row, just 1 single crochet in every stitch. And now for rows 9 and 10, I'm going to go back to increasing, where I put 2 stitches at the beginning and at the end. So I'll do row 9 for you. Chain 1, turn your work. In that first stitch, put 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1 single crochet in the next 12. And now in this final stitch we're going to put 2. So that's 13, 14. So this row technically has a total of 16 stitches, because when I started that middle count, I started over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, that's how many stitches you should have. And now, so I misspoke before. So now we're going to do another row 8 where we don't increase. Okay, I'm glad I stayed on camera. So chain 1, and then in this row we're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch. And we're going to maintain the same number of stitches, 16. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then give yourself the aerial view for that final stitch, 16. So that's what we have. Now, row 11 is where we will start our decrease rows. Okay, so we're going to start our first decrease row. It's going to entail the single crochet 2 together, okay? because we've spread it, the bottom of the tie out as wide as we want it, and now we need to start to come in a bit as we create the length, as we work on the length of the tie. So we'll start row 11 by chaining 1, and then we'll turn our work, and as you see as I'm turning, that chain 1 is coming out of that very first stitch there. Okay, so in that first stitch we're going to put a single crochet, and then we're going to put a single crochet into the next 5 stitches. So in these first 6 stitches total, we're going to put 1 single crochet. That's 2. Next stitch is the 3rd one. Next stitch is the 4th one. Next stitch, I'm just slicing the icing off the top of the cake, you guys, is the 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next stitch is the 6th one. Now we have arrived at our decrease. It's a single crochet 2 together. When you make a single crochet 2 together, when you decrease, that is to say over 2 stitches using the single crochet, what you do is this. You enter, yarn over, and pull through to the front. We'll put that on a pause and go into the next stitch as if though we're also starting a single crochet there. Enter, yarn over, pull through to the front. You're going to have 3 loops. You'll yarn over and go through all 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. And so what that does is it creates 1 stitch, which is, which you can see, 1 top, okay, 1 stitch over those 2 stitches. Alright, so that's the single crochet 2 together, and we're going to do that twice. So that's 1 single crochet 2 together. Let's do it again over these next 2 stitches. So enter, yarn over, pull through to the front, pause, go into the next one, do it again, yarn over, pull through to the front for 3 loops, yarn over, go through everything. 1, 2, 3. So now we have 2 single crochet 2 together stitches. 1 and then 2. Now we should have 6 stitches remaining, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the final 6 stitches. Let's see. 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, giving you that aerial view, and 6. Alrighty, so that's that. How many stitches do you think we should have now? If you decrease twice, if you did 2 single crochet 2 together, how many stitches do you think you should have? I say 14. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay? So indeed we have 14 stitches now. Okay. That is row 11. Row 12 is a non-increase, non-decrease row, so we're just putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. So we'll chain 1 and then put 1 single crochet in every stitch across. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. By the way, after you do that decrease, you may see that it kind of tries to, I don't know, bulge in certain areas. If it continues to do that, we can always fix that at the end. We can iron it or use some starch or whatever just to get it flat. But this yarn is kind of stiff, so as soon as I press it, it basically goes flat. Okay, so that's row 12. Alright, now it's time to do another decrease row. So row 13, we started by chaining 1, turn our work, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches. So that when I say first 3, that includes this first stitch that chain 1 is coming out of. So 1, next stitch 2, next stitch 3. Now we're going to single crochet 2 together, so over these next 2 stitches. So pause, go in the next one, for 3 loops. Now go through everything. That's 1 single crochet, 2 together. Now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4. Alright, now we're going to single crochet 2 together over these next 2 stitches. So pause, next one, 3 loops, yarn over, go through everything, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the last 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. So let's do it. 1, next stitch, make sure you get both loops, this 2, and next stitch is 3. Okay, so we decreased twice in this row, so that means we lost 2 stitches, so we should have a total of 12 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Alright, everything checks. Row 14, we're going to decrease again. So chain 1, turn your work, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 5 stitches. Remember, when it says first 5 in my tutorials, in my patterns anyway, that includes this first stitch where that chain 1 is coming out of. Okay, so first 5. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4, next stitch, 5. We know a decrease is coming, right? If I said the first 5, I would have said first more than 5 if it was just going to be another single crochet next, right? Alright, so now we're going to single crochet 2 together over these 2 stitches. So enter, yarn over, pull through to the front, pause, next stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through everything. Now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the last 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do it. 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4, final stitch. Give yourself the area view if you need to be able to see that top clearly. 5. Alright, so we just completed row 14. And let's see how many stitches we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, that makes sense because we only decreased 1 time in the previous row. Previous row we had 12, and then we decreased once, so that brought us to 11. Okay, so now for row 15, starting with row 15, I am going to do away with row numbers. I just wanted to use them to get us started, but I think it's more important to to work in terms of like length and inches, okay? And I'll reference the centimeters, or approximations of the centimeters for those of you who use the metric system as well. But it's just easier, especially just in case you guys, a lot of you are beginners. If you have different tensions, then 10 rows, 10 of my rows may not be equivalent to 10 of your rows, and therefore would yield a different length. So I think it's easier, and I think it just puts us all on the same page if I go with lengths, if I speak in terms of lengths rather than actually numbers of rows. Alright, so for the next several rows, for the next 6 inches, we're going to be just doing non-increase, non-decrease rows. So 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I'm going to take a stitch marker here, and I'm going to put it on the end of row 14. And so I'm going to crochet several rows until I get a total of 6 inches. I'll turn it this way. 6 inches from that stitch marker. And then I'm going to check back in then. So to go over here, that is just a little bit more than 15 centimeters for those of you who use the metric system. So I'm going to be doing non-increase rows, 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get a length, that much length, okay? So 6 inches, a little bit more than 15 centimeters. All right, so let me just start this first one. I know you guys know what to do, but I spoil you guys, so I want to do one. Alright, so this is stitch marker. I've chained 1, I'm turning my work. I'm going to act like that stitch marker isn't there, and I'm just going to slice the icing off the top of the cake, move the yarn with the stitch marker out of the way, and make the single crochet like it's not there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? And of course I'm going to be maintaining 11 stitches since I'm not increasing and decreasing for these next 6 inches. Okay? So you just continue doing rows like that. You're going to see it's going to start to kind of curve in a little bit. It already has, right? See how it rounded in? And then it'll stabilize as you continue on. But yes, you want to measure from the stitch marker, which is there, 6 inches, and then stop once you get that much more length. Okay? I'll check back in once I get to that point. See you soon. So I have my 6 inches crocheted, or a little bit more than 15 centimeters. You see I have it measured from the stitch marker there. Okay. One tip that I will give you is try to end on the same side where you last placed the stitch marker. If you don't, it's not a big deal, but the reason I say that is because say I needed to crochet over here and then I put a stitch marker there. It's a little bit more difficult. I mean, it's not super hard, but it's a little bit more difficult to measure the length when they're on opposite sides. It's just easier and more straightforward to measure it while it's on the same side. It's just a little small tip. Okay, so I've made my 6 inches. Before I put in the new stitch marker, I want to start the next decrease row. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. Alright, so I got my 6 inches made, and now for the next row, and remember we're not dealing in row numbers anymore, so next row, chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 5 stitches. So that includes the one with the chain 1. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4, and next stitch, 5. Then we're going to single crochet 2 together over that one and that one. So yarn over, pause, next one, 3 stitches, 3 loops, yarn over, go through everything, and that's our decrease. And now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, the final 4 stitches. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4. Okay. Now we're going to basically repeat what was row 15, basically the 1 single crochet in every stitch across for 4.5 inches. By the way, you should have 10 stitches because we decreased 1, and before we decreased in that row we had 11, so now we should have 10. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, and now that I've decreased this row, I'm going to start with just 1 single crochet in every stitch across, and I want to do that for 4.5 inches. So I'm just going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch across, and then at the end of this row, that's when I'm going to put the stitch marker so that it's on the same side. By the way, when it comes to measuring out, you don't have to have it be exactly, what I say it should be. For instance, if you have like 15.5 centimeters instead of 15 centimeters, it's fine. Okay, it's not gonna hurt anything. Alright, so now I'm gonna place my stitch marker there, just so it's on the same side. And so from this point up 4.5 inches, okay, and let me see what that is. 4.5 inches is like, it's almost 11.5 centimeters. I'm going to just continue putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. So chain 1, turn your work, disregard that stitch marker, just slice the icing off the top of the cake, and make your single crochet. And remember, you should have 10 stitches. So I've gone into detail how to go from the decrease row to the non-decrease, non-increase row with the stitch marker. So I don't think you guys need to see that anymore. I'm just going to tell you from here on out, crochet how many ever stitches or how many ever rows of non-increase. Alright, so I'm going to check back in once I get 4.5 more inches made. See there. So I've gotten my 4.5 inches, which is a little bit more, well, almost 11.5 centimeters crochet. So now it's time for another decrease round. So I'm going to chain 1 and start the next row. Did I say round? I meant row. Okay, so chain 1. And now I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to single crochet 2 together over these 2 stitches. So I'll decrease, pause, next one. Alright. And then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the next, or the last 4 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, final stitch, 4. Alright, and now I'm going to chain 1, and you're going to just put 1 single crochet in every stitch across for an inch. So how many ever rows that amounts to for you. So just going to put 1 single crochet across. And if you want, you can put the stitch marker on, the row before, since that's the decrease row. You can put it on the actual decrease row, or you can put it on the first non-increase row. It's up to you. Okay, just be consistent. So I put it on the decrease row. Alright, and now I should have 9 stitches, right? Because I decreased once. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So continue putting 1 single crochet in every stitch across until you get to a length of 1 inch, which is about 2.5 centimeters. I'll check back in then. As you see, I have my 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters of length crocheted. Okay, so now it's time for another decrease round, or row. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and for this one, it's going to be 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4. And then we're going to single crochet 2 together. Okay, so over that and that one. So pause, next stitch, now single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the final 3 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch. This is the decrease row, so I'm going to just place my stitch marker at the beginning of it to be consistent. And remember, I want the stitch markers on the same side. You don't have to do that, but I think it's a good tip. Alright, and now I'm going to crochet 2 inches of non-increase rows. So chain 1 and then put 1 single crochet in every stitch across, and I should have a total of 8 stitches now that I've decreased. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So just continue making non-increase rows until you get to a height of 2 inches. Alright? Seven, and just slide the stitch marker over, slicing the icing off top of the cake still. Make sure, yep, and then 8. Alright, I'll check back in after 2 inches. And for those of you who use the metric system, let's see, that is about 5 centimeters. I have my 2 inches crocheted, so now it's time for another decrease row. So I'll chain 1, I will turn my work, and I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4. Now I'm going to single crochet over the next 2 single. I'm going to single crochet 2 together, so decrease over these next 2 stitches. So 1, pause, start the next one, 2, and then decrease. And then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the final 2 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch. No more stitches actually. Got carried away. So now I am going to put a stitch marker at the beginning of that row in that first stitch, so that stitch marker is on the same side. And then I'm going to crochet 2 more inches of non-increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 stitches, crochet 2 more inches. Now check back in there. So I have the next 2 inches crocheted. It's time for another decrease round. I'll chain 1, turn my work, and for this round there'll be 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, to show you guys the multiple angles. Now we'll decrease over the next 2, so single crochet 2 together, and then 1 single crochet in the final 2 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2. Alright, I will add a stitch marker to the beginning of that first stitch, beginning of that row. And now I'm going to crochet 2 more inches of non-increase, and I should have 6 total stitches for the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll check back in after I've completed the next 2 inches. As you can see, I have crocheted the next 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So it's time for another decrease. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2, and then I'm going to single crochet 2 together over the next 2, so that one and that one. Start, pause, next one, now complete, and then 1 single crochet in the final 2 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, no stitch, I get carried away. Alright, and then I'm going to put my stitch marker on that very first stitch, so I know where to measure from. And now I'm going to crochet 2 more inches of non-increase, so just 1 stitch in every stitch below, and right now I have a total of 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check back in 2 inches later. So that marks another 2 inches, another 5 centimeters crocheted, and it's time for one more decrease row. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I am going to put 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So 1, next stitch, 2, and then I'm going to decrease over these next 2 stitches. So slice the icing, start it, pause, next one. Alright, now create my SC, my single crochet 2 together, and then put 1 single crochet in that final stitch. And now I have a total of 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll grab a stitch marker, put it on the very first stitch of that decrease row. And now, guys, you are going to crochet 31.5 inches of non-increase. So 31.5 inches, that is like a little bit less than 79.5 centimeters. Okay, so just continue crocheting row after row after row for 31.5 inches, okay, 79.5 centimeters, and I'll check back in then. It's going to go fast because you only have 4 stitches per row. See you soon. So I have crocheted my 31.5 inches, which I misspoke earlier. It's approximately 80 centimeters. Okay, it went by really fast because as I said, we're only crocheting 4 stitches per row. Okay, so now it's time to kind of finish this off. So we need to make the point at the end of the tie. By the way, if you want your tie longer, you can crochet more rows of the 4 stitches before doing this part, but this is sufficiently long for me. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. Alright, so we're going to skip the first stitch, and in the second stitch, so 1, 2, second stitch over, we're going to put a single crochet like that. And then let's put a stitch marker on that stitch just so we can mark exactly where it is. Okay, then we're going to skip this next stitch, that third one, and then we're going to put a single crochet in that final stitch. So skip, and then the next one, put a single crochet there. What we're trying to do by doing this is achieve a slant on both sides. So single crochet. Alright, now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to skip the first stitch again. When I say first stitch, that's the one where that chain 1 is coming out of, and go into the marked stitch with the stitch marker, the only other stitch, the second stitch, the last stitch. It's many things in this row. And then we'll just make a single crochet like that. And you see it's creating a point. I will remove the stitch marker so you can see it better now. Okay, see how it's creating the point of the tie. And then we will chain 1, cut our yarn, and fasten off. Okay, and it creates a nice point. And now you'll just grab your darning weaving tapestry needle and weave in the tails. So just pick some stitches. I kind of like working on the outside for some reason. It's like I don't want to really mess up the pattern. Not that I would, but those single crochets are so beautiful, I don't want to disturb them. So yeah, work through the side, and then I'm going to go a little bit into the interior, taking a slightly different path, disturbing those single crochets this time. And then I'm going to go out the point, or close to it if I can, that way, yeah. Alright, I'll shape it back the way it was, and then I'll cut my yarn. Alright, and then of course you weave in the other tail at the very beginning as well. And I'll go in the center just so, to show you that you can do that. I just hate messing up these. It doesn't really mess them up, but I feel like it's messing up the beautiful pattern. So, in one direction. Okay. Reshape it. And then take a slightly different path going back in the other direction. Where you can get in, get in. It's kind of tight because they're single crochets. Alright, once again, shape it, and then cut the yarn. And this is what you have. So let me zoom out, and then I'll give you a better view. Alright, so a few things. I wanted to mention that I made this tie. I like this pattern. I kind of stumbled upon it when I was creating this. I like this biggest part to have more of a spade look. It just makes it unique. So that's why I make my ties with that sort of spade. It's almost like an acorn too, kind of, and then bulges and then goes to a point. So that's one thing that I like that is probably a little bit different than a lot of other ties. But also the stitch markers here, you see they mark every time there was a decrease all the way until the last one right there in orange, and then I did all those rows of just non-increase. Okay, as I said, if you want to make your tie longer, you can do more of these non-increase rows once you get down to 4 stitches. If you don't have this many stitch markers, remember you can always just use what you have. So say I only had one, then once I got to this point I would take it out, this green one, and put it there. And then once I got to that point I would take the green one out and put it there, and so on. But it is much easier to use multiple stitch markers. And also, say you're not able to complete this in one session, then the stitch markers will remind you, they will tell you every time that you decrease. So if you forgot where you left off in your notes, then you can be like, okay, yeah, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decreases. Okay, so this is where I'm at. Okay, so it's just the easy way to locate where you're at. So yeah, this is the tie, you guys. It's very easy. And I could go into more detail, but basically you just take an original tie. Say you want a shape that's slightly different than this one. So if your tie is shaped differently, then you just basically line up what you're crocheting with what you're making, and you can just follow it. Whenever it increases, that means you need to, like it gets wider, you need to do some increase rounds, and whenever it gets narrower, you'll do a decrease row. Normally you just do one and then you do several rows of non-decrease, non-increase to kind of let it settle in. And then whenever it starts to get noticeably narrower, then you do another decrease row. So if you have a tie that's not shaped like this one, then now you know what to do to achieve that shape. And this was as narrow as I wanted it to be. You could go down to 3 stitches, but to me 4 stitches was, sufficient. Okay. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video, but I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, happy crocheting.